President Joe Biden and Pope Francis both speak about the need for peace in the Middle East. The White House says the two leaders talked on the phone Sunday about the war in Israel and Gaza, and we are learning more about that conversation as White House correspondent Owen Jensen just asked President Biden about it. Owen, so what did the president have to say?
Tracy, good evening to you. First of all, let me set the stage for you a little bit. President Biden here at the White House was giving a speech on Bidenomics today, and right when it was done, I was able to ask him about that phone call with Pope Francis. Now, we're told the phone call lasted about 20 minutes, and here's my interaction with President Biden earlier today. Pope Francis spoke with you yesterday. You spoke with Pope Francis by phone yesterday?
I did.
How did that conversation impact you? What did you take away from that, the conversation with Pope Francis?
Well, that's just one question. The Pope and I are on the same page. He was very, very interested in what we were doing to deal with some of the crises that we're facing, particularly in Israel this time around. And I laid out to him what the game plan was, how we thought we should be providing the kind of assistance to Israel they needed. And the Pope was across the board supportive of what we're doing.
Meanwhile, Israel ramps up its airstrikes in Gaza, the death toll increasing. And in the White House press briefing room today,
we're glad to see the first convoys of humanitarian assistance over the weekend cross the border into Gaza and reach Palestinians in need.
The U.S. advising Israel to delay an expected ground invasion to buy more time to rescue hostages taken by Hamas more than 2 weeks ago. At least 222 people were captured by the terrorists. Just last week, an American woman and her teenage daughter released.
I will tell you that nothing has changed about our focus on those hostages. We're glad we got two back home with their families where they belong. Last week, we want to get the rest of them out.
And as efforts are made to free the hostages, these posters put up in Tel Aviv showing their faces, the United States ready to protect Americans and U.S. troops in the Middle East should the Israel-Hamas war escalate as expected.
We got to do what we got to do to protect our troops on the ground, particularly in Iraq and Syria. You've seen us add additional military capability to the region.
Now, back to the president today when he was giving that speech. Afterward, another reporter asked him if the U.S. supports a hostages for ceasefire deal. The president responded, "We should have those hostages released and then we can talk." At the White House, Owen Jensen, EWTN News Nightly.